Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for taking some time to join us today. We are super excited to be meeting with you and sharing more of the MGT story. I have found that agents who attend this training session get off to a better start with us. It's just backed up by the numbers. So, for all of you who are joining us today, thanks so much for getting off to a great start together. Now, before we jump into the full presentation, we can start out with a round of intros. And since I'm going to be talking for quite some time this afternoon, Allie, why don't you go ahead and take it away? Introduce yourself.
Thanks, Dan. Yes, thank you so much all for being here. We are very excited to to spend some time with you. My name is Allie Essie, and I'm the head of partnership success over here at MGT. I work closely with Dan, who is fabulous and amazing at all things activation and onboarding, and he's just an excellent colleague. We're happy to have him and leading you guys. We pride ourselves on relationships and in trying to meet you at how you like to be met, how you like to work. And so anything we can do to support you in your efforts, we are here and very much your advocate. Thanks, Dan.
Mhm. That's awesome. And well, really, I couldn't say it better myself. So thanks for the great introduction, Allie. I'm Dan Coakley, and you can kind of think of me as your MGT fixer as you get started with us. You have a whole team that's here to support you and your success. But if you're ever not sure who to reach out to, please get in touch with me, and I'll make sure we get you pointed in the right direction. Now, quick note before we get started, please use the chat feature in the bottom, kind of middle part of your screen, probably about right here, just depending on how you've got the view set up. Uh, that will let you ask questions to us, and we'll take those questions all along the way as we go through, answer them live. And then as we wrap up, we'll end with a Q&A as well. So just don't sign out of this meeting without asking any questions that you've got. Don't log off thinking, wow, I just wish I would have asked that or this. We're here for you and you've got our full attention. So let's go ahead and get things kicked off. I'll share my screen. We can get the party started. So with MGT, the era of Neo Insurance has arrived. And you may be asking yourself, what the heck even is Neo Insurance? That's a term I haven't heard before. It's because we're the first ones to do it. And so you can kind of think of MGT and what we're doing in context of the wider industry. You know, you've got insurance carriers, sometimes with 200 to 400 years of experience in helping people secure their livelihoods and make sure a bad day doesn't turn into a bad life. But as these companies have grown for all the amazing things that they've done, they haven't always developed with speed, ease of doing business, delivering a great intuitive experience to everybody at top of their priority list. Over the last several years, you've had insurtechs joining the market. There's a lot of different ways they can be set up. Sometimes they're MGAs, MGUs, wholesalers, fronting companies, you name it. Somebody out there has tried it. But if you boil it all down, essentially what they do is they take a nice layer of tech, put it on top of that legacy experience, and ultimately it can be very compelling. But you know, when things kind of stray off that happy path, it can get really tough, really fast. And because these companies tend to not actually be backing the products that they're underwriting, there really can be some kind of mixed incentives there. And so that's where MGT is different. We are the carrier. We stand behind the risks that we underwrite through our platform. And because we're the carrier, we have full control over the entire process from defining our appetite and setting rates to creating the platform that you'll see in just a few minutes to quote, bind, and service these risks, all the way out to renewing and even paying the claims when those happen. And because we really own the entire process, it does let us deliver a really great experience, not just to you, but also to your clients and any other stakeholders in the process. So some of the things that I think you'll like most about MGT are that we have a excellent financial strength. We're rated A minus by AM Best. We also are writing all of our policies on 100% ISO language forms. What that means is those are the most legally tested forms on the market. If you're taking a designation or a licensing class and it's referencing policy language, there's a very, very, very solid bet that the policy language is the ISO policy language. So between these last 2 points, I know MGT is not always a household name just yet, unless you live in like a very, very nerdy household, which if you do, I appreciate that. We don't have the TV commercials just yet. You can still feel good placing business with us that we will be here to pay out on claims and the policy will respond the way you'd expect it to. I think what you'll all really appreciate as well is we've built a zero friction process. Working with us, there are no accord forms, no supplementals, and no 3 week long back and forth email chains with underwriters trying to firm up details and terms. In fact, quoting through our platform, you were able to get a fully bindable quote in 3 minutes or less. And we have a wide footprint. We're admitted now in 45 states and Washington, D.C., and I expect we'll continue to expand throughout the year as well. So just some quick numbers here. I think we're actually going to have to update this slide. I'll just go ahead and do an unofficial update. But my favorite statistic to share here is that in the first quarter of this year, it's marked as Q4 2025 here, we had 100% uptime for our platform. What that means is that anytime somebody needed assistance, needed to run a quote, bind a policy, service an account, answer questions about policy details, our platform was up, fully operational, and that person who needed some extra assistance wasn't waiting on our technology to get in line. Now, just some quick appetite details. One of my favorite things about it is it's very intuitive. It's pretty consistent from class to class, from industry to industry. There are, of course, some nuances, but these details should be accurate for almost anything that you're quoting. We're writing about 300 classes of business, including artists and contractors, professional and medical offices, retail stores, wholesalers and distributors. We'll write your barber shops, beauty parlors, nail salons, bakeries, grocery stores, coffee shops, convenience stores, you name it. A lot of those businesses you probably drive by on your way into the office can be a great fit with MGT. We're writing up to 3 million in revenue for most risks, up to 5 million revenue for professional and medical offices. We're writing up to 100 employees, up to 30,000 square feet, up to 2 million total insured value per location with up to 4 locations per policy. So that gives you a good amount of flexibility, I think, compared to most of the small commercial market. We're also able to write new ventures, businesses with no prior coverage, businesses with coverage lapses, claims history can be eligible. So when you get that nice, perfect, neat account on your desk, best thing an underwriter's seen all week, send that our way too. We're going to slam dunk that together and it'll take 3 minutes. But if it's got a little bit more hair on it, it's a little bit more difficult to place, that still can be something that fits with us. So don't hold back waiting for that perfect opportunity. Get those submissions in.
Dan, that fits perfectly with John had a question. He said that sounds like a great story, but in order to do that, would seem like the accounts you write would have to be pretty simple. Can you do more complex accounts like multiple locations, etc.?
Yeah. And John, I think you're right on the money. We are focused in general on, I would say kind of low hazard, low volatility, like fairly in the box type of accounts. If you've got a bounce house operator that does some roofing on the side, we're probably not going to be the best market for that. But if you get, say, a 4 location grocery store operation, we're going to make that something you can quote and bind in probably 15 minutes. And that'll give you more time to focus on those bounce house operator roofers that come your way.
Thanks, John. That's a great
That's a
question.
great question. So keep them coming. I love those kinds of questions. Now, we'll talk about coverage real quick as well. I get caught all the time saying that, we write just the BOP or we just write BOPs. And I really should slap myself on the wrist every time I say that because we write a lot more than just the BOP. We've got some great coverage built in. I'm not going to go through and list all of them here for you, but some of the highlights here are professional liability that's available for barbershops, beauty parlors, nail salons, and photographers. Hired non-owned auto gets a lot of interest as well. That's available for a lot of our office risks, even a lot of our retail store risks. It's available for artists and contractors, and it's available for restaurants that aren't doing any self-delivery. If we've got anybody here in a monopolistic workers' comp state, we can also include the stopgap coverage. We can include mine subsidence in a couple of states as well. So just a lot of great stuff. And, it's always worth reviewing those coverage options. We also have some optional coverages and sublimits available to you. The highlight here is that when you're quoting through our platform, you'll only see bindable options for all these different optional coverages and sublimits. So you can always feel confident as you go through a quote, the terms you get at the end are terms that you'll be able to stand behind. For restaurants, we do have some specific coverage enhancements available. That's a great class of business to try with us, and we can write restaurants up to 50% alcohol sales, by the way. They'll have access to things like higher contamination and spoilage limits, premises security coverage, that higher non-owned auto we talked about. They've got valet operations. We can even include some coverage for damage to customers' autos. Contractors as well. It's a recent expansion for us. We just opened that appetite up a couple months ago. It's been going great so far. We are able to offer tools and equipment coverage. It starts out at, I think 10,000, but you can go all the way up to 100. We're able to do contractors installation coverage just all in one policy. So it's one premium, one policy number, one certificate to keep track of. It just makes life easier for everybody. And so let's go ahead and take a look at how everything works. And before we jump into the platform itself, I always like to show off my favorite page on our website, which is the BOP Appetite page. So if you're following along, just go to mgtinsurance.com, click that BOP Appetite tab in the upper right left-hand side of the screen. You can see a map of states where we are live and admitted. And then if you scroll down, you can communicate with our AI appetite assistant, Amy. Amy's a great resource for you for all those kind of quick appetite questions that come up throughout the day. I have actually seen people in the platform quoting and binding business at 3 in the morning. Really, really incredible. If you like to keep those hours, I'm not going to discourage you. But if you try to call me for help at 3 a.m., you're going to be leaving a message. I'm going to be giving you a call back first thing in the morning. Amy, on the other hand, is available for you anytime that you need assistance. Really able to answer a lot of questions like, let's just say, can you write a hobby shop in Des Moines? And even though a hobby shop is not like a specific class code, even though I didn't specify Des Moines as, the Des Moines in Iowa, Amy's able to kind of parse through that question. We could ask follow-up questions and really dig in, and it's able to keep that context of the conversation. And so, if you're working on something and you just need to know, will MGT be able to take a shot at this? This is a great way to do that without having to really jump in, start quoting. You don't even have to sign in to get to this page.
And Dan, we actually have something that's pertinent. Sylvia just asked on restaurants, do you write entertainment such as comedy, probably comedy clubs and DJs? Like if they were the DJ themselves, I'm assuming that would be a perfect, and she knows.
Yeah, so let's try it out. This always makes me a little nervous when we go off script like this, but I actually think this is one of the coolest ways to see the technology. So you can see here, Amy is keeping that context. She thinks we're still considering Iowa, which is fine. It really doesn't change the answer no matter what state it's in. And it does note that any kind of live entertainment will cause a referral, so that our human underwriting team can take a look at the risk and make sure it'll be something that we're comfortable with.
And this is where we come in and advocate if you feel like it should be an appetite and it lines up into our guidelines, we can help in the underwriting process as well. So please don't be afraid to reach out to our support team. Dan, myself, we are very much very responsive and able to help in make a case for you should you need
Yep.
it.
And typically, when an account does refer, we try to turn those around same day. There can be some flexibility there just based on the timing, but that's kind of the general goal. And you'll see in just a minute here how we use the technology to make things easier for you when you're working on a submission. What you might not see quite so easily is that we do the same thing for our underwriting team. And because of that, they're really able to give you that kind of fast response. They're not spending their whole day looking up people's Facebook accounts to see what kind of drink specials they offer or when they close. They're really able to dig in right away, get you the answer that you need for that risk, and then you can move forward with that and move on to the next one. That's what it's all about. So to get into the fun part and start a quote, we'll click the sign in button here in the upper right-hand side of the page. That'll take us into the platform. Here you've got options to start a quote. You can use this user management page to invite other folks from your office to join your team. We do support roles for both producers and support. So if you've got CSRs or other support staff, they can have an account too, and then they'll be able to help out people when they call in with questions. You can also follow the appetite guide to go back to that appetite page, download some additional documents, and really get started to dig in. Along the left-hand side of the page, you've got options for policies, quotes, and user management, all pretty self-explanatory there. So let's jump in and start a new quote. And this is where I like to go a little bit off script here. I'm going to open it up. If anybody wants to shout out in the chat a favorite restaurant, maybe like a favorite barber shop or nail salon you really like to go to, maybe an office for a lawyer, an accountant, another insurance agent who sends you leads sometimes. I can definitely run this through with just kind of like test businesses, but it's much more fun and you'll get a much better picture of what this technology looks like in action.
Okay, we got one. Ted, Old Town Tavern, Littleton, Colorado. Beautiful.
Oh, love it. That sounds like a good one.
Yes.
So we'll start typing the business name, and you'll see as we go, this is going to find Old Town Tavern in Littleton. We'll click that to select it. If they have a DBA, we can enter that. And in my experience, almost every time this actually does work and it can find that business, but sometimes they're really completely off the grid. Sometimes it's a brand new business that hasn't even really like officially been created yet. And so in those cases, you might need to click the enter business info manually button. And then you can use that to just enter in their information yourself.
While
So
you're
we'll
waiting for
click
that, let me
continue.
so while we're waiting for that, and I know you want to talk about this screen, but really fast, I can just answer this one. Sylvia, we are not live in Florida, and we won't be. That's one of two states that in Hawaii we aren't going to be in the foreseeable future. Thank you for asking that. Go ahead, Dan.
Yep, great note. So once we've got the page loaded here, you'll see we've got the class of business selected. Our platform's actually able to look up business details on this risk to find that classification. If it ever misses the mark, you can click that field. You can start typing in different keywords. It'll pull up different options that fit those keywords, and then you can select the class code that best describes the risk. But I actually find most of the time this is really accurate. And casual or fine dining restaurant sounds pretty accurate for this business here.
And
Select
and
consistent
we
owner's
we
policy.
Yeah, and we may be teasing with upcoming products. So just a little sneak peek into what might be coming later on this year. That if you're seeing commercial auto, we don't offer it yet, but stay tuned.
Hey, it's on the demo system. So we'll select that. What's happening now is we're actually communicating with dozens of different data vendors. We're finding over 3,900 different data points on this business. And we're using that not just to kind of pre-fill like application questions, which we do, and you'll see that in just a second. But it's also finding important information to surface to our underwriters behind the scenes so that when they do need to review an account, they've got all the important information that they need to have right in front of them. Looks like, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, are all William says, are all your products admitted? Yeah.
Generally, yes. We do have a specialty insurance side of the business called MGT Specialty. They distribute exclusively through Amwins and write lesser's risk. Aside from that, though, for the kind of MGT BOP appetite, it's 100% admitted. Really good question. And so it took just a moment to go through all that kind of data, number crunching, and you'll see here it's starting to answer some of these questions for us. First couple questions are always going to be the same. Have they had any claims, and do they need any building coverage? We'll click continue here, and then you'll see these questions are being pre-filled for us. If you ever run into a situation where, here it's kind of indicating 0% alcohol sales. I'm just guessing by the name of Old Town Tavern, they probably do have some alcohol sales. So let's go ahead and put maybe 25% here, and we can always update these answers as we go through. So I like to say trust but verify when you see these pre-filled questions. Maybe we know that it's actually 10 employees and not 15. We'll click continue. Now, this does trigger pretty often for restaurants. I think it's just something about their web presence. Maybe if they have happy hours, the platform will see that and think that they have special events. A lot of times they really don't. And if that's the case, you can just put a 0 in here to remove that special events coverage. But if they do need special events, we can include that coverage on their BOP and we can include the host liquor liability as well. We'll click continue. We'll enter in some gross sales. Let's just give them a nice healthy restaurant here. Click continue again. And in this page, we'll be able to add any additional insureds. It can take just a second while it loads some of that data behind the scenes, but then we'll be able to go through this process and include any additional insureds we need to right on our initial submission. If you ever do run into the situation where you need to add additional insureds after the policy is bound, we can do that as well. But I like to recommend adding them up front just so that you get an accurate quote, including all the endorsements and all the coverages that they need right off the bat. We'll answer this question. To add additional insureds, it's as easy as selecting the type of additional insured, entering in their information, and then clicking continue. And if you click that button one too many times and need to remove an additional insured, just click that trash can icon to do that. We'll click continue again. And then in this page, we'll be able to enter in any information for the building and contents. So this is also doing some data digging here. This is actually one of my favorite things that it does. It can find the footprint of this building in Google Maps, trace it out, and then use that to calculate out the square footage. I've sat in the underwriter seat before. I know that we all spend a lot of time doing kind of easy little things like that. I can't even tell you how many times I've had to measure the distance to the coast in Google Maps. And our technology can do that for you. So you don't have to spend as much of your time on those kind of like tedious, not really, not there are processes that don't really use like your full skills and talents. So we want to give you more time back in your day to do that. So you can see here, it found the square footage, the construction type, can tell that it's not equipped with automatic sprinklers. It's coming preset at 100,000 business personal property. Maybe we want to update that to 125, and then we'll click continue. If we need to edit any of the additional insured or building information from here, you can click on the little pencil and notepad icon to do that. If you need to add any additional locations, you can do that by clicking this button. And then for our purposes here today, we'll just click continue to proceed. One last question, just confirming TRIA coverage. We'll keep that on and click continue. And now we will get our quote loaded up. So this will take just a second to confirm it's in Appetite and rate it. And then we'll have a quote that we can review together in just a moment. So we've got a premium here. We do have a pay in full discount, so that's very visible as well. And if we scroll down, you can see all the different sublimits and deductibles. I know everyone on this call has probably seen pages that look just like this a million times. We won't spend too much time here. One thing I will point out is that you can add some of these other optional coverages. And as you do add these, you'll see the premium updates here in the upper right-hand corner. So you can really kind of go through some different options, kind of help the insured manage their risk and sort of like figure out kind of what that sweet spot of coverage and premium will be. You need to make a few different changes. You can do that. Maybe we want to include some equipment breakdown as well. All of the different options that you see here are bindable. It just will not show you options that are out of appetite for us. And once we've got all the changes made, we can click update quote, and that will make sure that when we download this quote letter, that it's the most current version of the quote. Now, one thing I'll mention while it loads, I see sometimes people get really excited because they get ready to bind an account and they're ready to jump in. They just need to make a couple changes and they'll click this jump to section button and want to jump in and get started. If you do that, first off, it'll just go into kind of a review version of the quote. You won't actually be able to change any of the answers. But if you do need to change any of the answers, you can click edit quote here and then go through that process to do that. You don't have to get an underwriter to update these quotes for you once they're entered. You can click edit quote. You can make all those changes yourself. So once we've got everything locked in, it's just the way they like it. We'll click continue to bind. We'll confirm the effective date, and then we'll enter in the policyholder's contact information. One tip, I do see a lot of agents that I work with, they'll actually enter their own email address in this CC line here, and that way they get copied on all the communications that go out on this policy. It's not required. We know you want to stay in touch with the account. We do send you emails along the way as well. But if you just want that extra layer of security and confidence, especially maybe just for your first few that you're writing with us, I would encourage you to do that as well. It's a great little tip and it's super easy to do. We'll click confirm and send to insured. And what will happen here is I'll actually get an email in probably about 10 seconds that has a link to finalize the policy. You can see on this page, we're able to keep track of what's happening with that payment link. This is a lot of people's favorite feature here because it just saves you some back and forth with the applicant. And if you're ever working with somebody who needs a little extra assistance, or maybe you've got their payment information, you want to enter that in yourself, you can click copy share link. That copies the exact same link that we emailed over to them. And then you could email it to them, you can send it to them as a text message, or you can open up a new tab and put that link in, and you can even go through this process as well. Once we've got this open, we can click full pay, quarterly or monthly. If you do click quarterly or monthly, you've got the view payment schedule button here. Really helpful to be able to see what each installment would be and exactly when it'll be due. And then once we've got the installment selected, we'll click continue again to go into the e-signing process. This is going to load up all of our documents so that we can get started e-signing all the different forms that we need to. It just replaces that whole process of having to print out, sign, scan, download, print out, sign, scan, re-download forms all day long. Instead, we can just give it the official squiggle. Everybody likes how easy that is. And then agree to e-signing. You can click start signing to go through page by page and review every signature. Or what I'll do here is click sign all and knock everything out in the click of a button. All these documents will be emailed over to the applicant and to you if you put yourself in as that CC contact. That way they have them for their records. They'll also be available to you in the platform. So even if you don't add yourself as that CC contact, you and your team will always have access to them in the MGT platform. All that's left now is collecting payment. One thing I do like to highlight, just so it doesn't catch anybody by surprise, we do work with a payment vendor that charges payment fees. Yeah, I think that's pretty much universal these days. They do vary based on the installment and the payment method. Very good rule of thumb, though, is ACH will always be most cost effective. So it's only $5 here versus about 3% for the card. Once we've got the method selected, then we'll just enter in the contact information of the policyholder and their payment info. We'll check the box. You'll see here auto pay is automatically selected to be turned on. If they don't want to auto pay, it's as easy as untoggling it, but I do like to recommend keeping it on because it does help retention. Real quick before we complete that transaction, if we go back here, you'll see now that this box should update for us in just a second. And so this helps you kind of keep track live with what's happening to that payment link. Now we'll go through and complete the transaction. We know that's gone through because we get the invoice number. And then once we go back here, you'll see this box will check off for us in just a moment as well. Probably about 60 to 90 seconds later, that policy will actually be issued. You'll have instant access to all the policy documents. So if you need to create a certificate or email somebody a deck page, you'll be able to do that without really having to wait on us to do that. We click back into the policies tab. Let's see here, it's pending.
And I'm sorry if you mentioned it already, but the copy share link, that's also the workaround uh for if you were going to take financial information yourself on behalf of the insured. And so just wanted to point that out. If you guys do take financial information, that is the workaround there.
Yep. We have to encourage you to have the insured e-sign all those documents. But once they've done that, if you want to enter in their payment information, you can use that exact same share link like Ali mentioned. Once the policy's been issued, you'll have access to the policy information page. It's got a lot of really good information on here as well. We can see here that auto pay is enabled. You can click view schedule again to see what payments are upcoming and how much they'll be. If we scroll down, you can download all those signed documents. You can get kind of quick details on that policy. If maybe somebody has a question, you don't necessarily want to download the application and start digging through that or the policy documents. So you can find all that information here. And then if we scroll up, I've actually heard from a lot of people, this is their favorite feature. If you go into the quick actions, you can click send payment reminder and send an automated reminder over to the policyholder if they have an upcoming payment, and just saves you all the time of having to kind of reach out and kind of shepherd them through that process when you do that. So I know a lot of service teams, that's their number one favorite thing about the platform. So it always takes a little bit longer when I'm narrating along the way, but I think we got through that whole process in about 10 minutes. Luckily for you all, when you're quoting on your own, my voice is not going to be there to kind of harass you through the process. You'll be doing this on your own in probably 3 to 5 minutes once you get a couple under your belt.
Or Dan, it might be. There may be some trauma there. I'm not sure.
That's right. Yeah, if you don't run some quotes. So these are just a few of the recent wins that we like to share. These do a really good job of kind of illustrating the types of business that MGT will be a good partner with you for. We did an electronics retailer in Texas. This is actually a cell phone store in Houston. Any Texans in here will know Houston can be a pretty tough territory to write. We were actually able to replace a non-renewal with an admitted ISO form bot policy, no theft exclusions, no theft sublimits in 9 minutes. We had a convenience store in South Carolina. It's another tough product in kind of a state that can be tougher as well. They had the 1 mil, 2 mil GL limits, 75,000 in BPP, came into about 3,500 in annual premium. They found significant savings with that quote, and it took them 6 minutes to finish it. Kind of on the other end of the spectrum, we had a seafood restaurant in Georgia. They had the 1 mil, 2 mil GL, 1 mil, 2 mil liquor liability, about $1 million in property, came out to just shy of 15,000 in annual premium. And they really used the optional coverages and sublimits to tailor that policy to their very specific risk and deliver something that was, kind of bespoke for that specific business. And then I'll leave this up for a few minutes. I know sometimes people like to screenshot this or copy that information down onto a sticky note and stick it on the wall next to them. So this is going to be maybe the most important slide of this whole deck because if you need help, you do have a whole team that's here to support you. You've got myself. You've got Annalise. She is one of your main advocates, especially when you're working on quoting with us. You will for sure hear from her, and she's a great resource, so definitely lean on her. We've got an underwriting team. We have a general email for them. It's just underwriting at mgtinsurance.com. They do answer that email. We have a phone number that you can call. They will pick up the phone. We've got instant message support. We've got a customer support team. And of course, we've got Amy, who you all met right at the top of the meeting. There's a lot of good resources here.
Oh, Alex, my agency has a sizable book with Oregon Mutual. From what I understand, you are the new paper for them. That's correct. Regarding those policies, do we have to resubmit them on MGT portal, or is there another process for those Oregon Mutual policies? Additionally, is there a way to submit outside of the online portal, such as directly emailing an underwriter? Alex, we can get with you after this. Those are all, yeah, maybe Dan, you want to answer the
Sure. Yeah, I mean, there's no proprietary information. This won't be as impactful for most folks on the call. But Alex, we can definitely help you with that. Essentially, what we've done is when you have Oregon Mutual policies that are eligible to be placed with MGT, we've already quoted them. They should be available in the platform to you in the quotes tab. If you're not seeing policies there, it's probably just because they're not eligible to be moved over yet. We're kind of doing a phase transition there. But if you find, you are really curious about something, or you think that there should be a policy in there that you're not seeing, please reach out to us. There is no other way to submit than the online portal. Please don't email us accords. Don't put yourself through that. All submissions can go in through our online platform. You don't have to wait for an underwriter to review them. You don't have to go through the whole process of filling out the accord. That whole process you saw of quoting earlier is exactly what it's going to look like when you're in there.
Alex, if you also want to let us know your agency, I can get with your marketing manager, your marketing rep, and then we can help you with the transition there.
But great question, Alex. Also, Alex, I mean, you saw our training here today, so it might not be as impactful, but we do also have a specific training for Oregon Mutual transition agencies that's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so if you'd like a link to register for that, let us know and we'll send that over to you as well.
Oh, thank you, Alex. I'll make note of that.
So we've got another few minutes on the calendar together. If anybody else has any questions, anything you want to dig into, please feel welcome to shout it out in the chat. And we'll be here for another few minutes to answer those questions.
Okay, Alex, we got you there. We'll make sure you get the webinar link. Uh, you'll be able to get on the one tomorrow. So we'll make sure and get that to you.
All right. Well, I'm not seeing any other ones come through. So last call in three, two, one. All right. No more questions. No, I'm just kidding. If you do have any other questions, please feel welcome to shout those out. But I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So the one question kind of surprised nobody asked because this comes up almost every session that we do. Someone will say, "What does MGT stand for?" This afternoon, I think MGT stood for Mighty Good Time. I know I've had one. I hope you have too. Thanks so much for taking some time to join us. We're super excited to be working with you. And again, if you need any assistance, there's any way we can help you be successful, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks so much for your time today.
Hey, everyone. Have a great day.